One question we get a lot is from indie developers, smaller developers, how do I get my game covered by IGN? I thought this might be a good venue to talk about that. But far and away, the question we get most often at IGN is, how do I get a job at IGN? So I think I'll try to address both of those questions here today. Starting with the first one, how do you get your game covered by IGN? Like most media outlets, we're after traffic. So we cover the games that we think are going to generate the most traffic for us. So, that means we spend a lot of our time covering big games, big AAA games. And in fact, that's, IGN's a 22-year-old company now. When we started, there wasn't even an indie game scene to cover. So that's what we've covered almost during our entire existence as a website. That doesn't mean we don't cover indie games, but it definitely means that, we have to be smart about what we cover, and we have to make sure we're covering off on the big stuff before we get to the smaller stuff. So on Steam alone, last year, many of you probably know this, over 7,600 games were released on Steam last year alone. It's insane. It's too many games. Everyone agrees there are too many games, but nobody wants to stop making games. It's a predicament. We're always looking at Reddit and Twitter. We follow game developers on Twitter, other game personalities and gamers, so we notice when people are talking about a cool new indie game. We're much more likely to want to write about a game that we're excited about too. So maybe you're assigned a preview of Just Cause 4. That's just an example. I like Just Cause. If you're assigned it, maybe it's just work to you. It's just something you have to do. But if you found a cool new indie game that you're enthusiastic about, you're much more likely to actually want to get that work done. So what types of indie games perform well on IGN? Anybody played Celeste? Yeah, this game actually did really well for us, which may be a little surprising because it's it's not a sequel to anything. It's not a super well-known property, kind of a generic sounding name. Does anybody have any idea why this was so popular for us? Well, it's because we gave it a 10, to be honest with you. That gave us a whole other promotional angle. So instead of, hey, here's this game, here's a review of this game you've never heard about, we were able to lean into the promotional angle of, this is the latest game to get a 10 from IGN, which doesn't happen very often. And we can use that in our promotion. In the thumbnail, we can actually put the nice little 10 there. And that's much more likely to get people's attention, I think, than just Celeste. So, in a nutshell, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Just make a perfect 10. If your game is mediocre, to be honest, we're probably not even going to review it, because then the message to our audience is, here's a game you don't know about, it's not very good. And there's not much they can do with that information. So quality is super, super important. And there's a lot of competition out there. Other than making a 10, how can you improve your chances of getting your game noticed by IGN? And I have to say, your art style is super, super important. The quality of your art is really important. I probably can't overstate how important the art is, because I can tell at a glance whether or not I'm interested in checking out a game. There are certainly times when games have gone on to grab me, even if the art didn't initially grab me, but most times, just by looking at a game, I know if I want to play it. The moment I saw Darkest Dungeon, I was like, I gotta play that game. Same thing for Spelunky, and same thing for Inside. And how valuable is that to be able to grab someone just by looking at your game, one screenshot of your game, and having them say, man, I want to play that. So you need really high quality art, and then it's also super important that you actually make contacts, either at IGN or other press outlets too. Like so much in life, who you know is really important. Lucky for you, it is our job to know developers and have good contacts with developers. So we're super happy to always meet a new developer. There are many outlets for you to do that. You can do so online. I'm very active on Twitter myself, and I totally get to know the people that are most active with me, the followers that engage with me the most. We also have many fan events throughout the years. We have a First Friday every Friday of the month at the IGN office, where we invite people into the office. We go to PAX, we do panels at PAX, so I think there's plenty of opportunities for you to actually meet with us in person throughout the year. And in fact, Chris from Multivarious, who puts on so much of the show here, I'm here today because he introduced himself to me at PAX East a few years ago. We've gone on to become associates and friends too. So like I said, it's our job to get to know you. So you don't ever have to like be shy about reaching out to us. But having that contact is super important to actually, getting your game noticed amongst the sea of however like 10,000 games that are going to be released this year. Of course, if you are picked up by a publisher, that part will help out a lot too. Even if you have a publicist, we know everyone in PR and publicity for the games industry, so they are going to know us and they're going to be able to get their foot in the door. Can't tell you how many emails I get from developers and publicists that's just like a wall of text, and there's like, I have no idea, it's a game I've never heard of, I have no idea what type of game it is or what it looks like, and there's like a link to download some assets. It's the year 2018. Our email service can handle images. Put images directly into your email, because that's, like I was saying earlier, that's like the quickest way to know whether or not we're like interested in your game. And like I said, if you have really high quality art, that's gonna catch my eye. I'm gonna be like, ooh, this looks really cool. What's this all about? And if you guys cut a trailer, if you guys have a trailer for your game, especially a gameplay trailer, man, I can't tell you, so many times I feel like our time is being wasted by trailers. This is what every indie game trailer is like. It goes text, and then a still image slowly panning across the screen, and then text in a world, and then another image, and then maybe 30 seconds into the trailer, finally we're like seeing some gameplay. Dude, just get right to the gameplay. That's all that matters. It's all like, I'm trying to make a value judgment on whether or not I'm interested in this game. I just want to see gameplay right off the bat. Don't waste the time. The perfect storm for you guys, in a good way, a good type of storm. The good perfect storm would be that you have a great game with high quality art, and you have a relationship with at least one person at IGN that you can reach out to, or you have a publisher that does. And in your communication, you include imagery of your game in there, and your gameplay trailer gets right to the gameplay right away. I know it's not like a silver bullet that's gonna get your game or view on IGN. Definitely, but all of these things will definitely increase your chances of getting covered on IGN. Let's talk about if anybody ever wanted to get a job at IGN or a place like IGN. Our content team, I'm talking about content. Of course, we have like sales teams and engineering and HR and all that stuff. Probably not worrying about that today. The content side of things, the people that are actually making content on IGN, is divided between editorial and video. Editorial, everyone's an editor. That's why there aren't as many job titles on the editorial side. Everyone's an editor. You start as an associate editor, work your way up to a senior editor, and then we have like a reviews editor, previews editor, news editor, and so on. On the video side, the video is made up of producers, shooters, people who actually film all of our videos, editors that edit the videos, and then hosts like myself. So I think most of the time when people are asking about getting a job at IGN, they're usually talking about editorial. So I'll spend more time talking about that. If anybody has any questions about video, I'm happy to answer that as well. But usually people are talking about like a writing job at IGN. With very few exceptions, members of editorial are expected to be on camera. So we're looking for people who are comfortable on camera, people who are well-spoken and can clearly communicate their thoughts and opinions about games and do so comfortably on camera. So the perfect candidate today is someone who knows a lot about games, is a good writer, and has lots of experience being on camera. The good thing is that there's nothing keeping anyone here from starting to do that today. Everyone knows there's no more barriers to creating content and publishing content out there. Hopefully, you at least have like a blog, a personal blog that you're writing on, that you've been writing game reviews on. If anyone hasn't tried reviewing a game, that's definitely a fun exercise. You should try that for sure. It's also a good primer on how reviewing video games is not always fun. So if you feel like that's you, if you feel like you're a good writer, you know a lot about games, and you're comfortable being on camera, then the next step would be a little bit similar to what I would recommend for developers, is sort of like making contact with us. And like I said, plenty of avenues to do that on Twitter. I totally get to know all the my Twitter followers that are most active, talking with me, asking questions, and just having conversations online. And like I said, we have First Friday events in the office, first Friday of every month. We're at every PAX, so I think there's plenty of opportunities to introduce yourself, get to know us, and then most people's entry into writing for IGN is through a freelance position. We always need freelance writers to help us with reviews, to help us with smaller news stories. Sometimes even at events, if there's like an event somewhere where we can't make it to, we'll have freelancers attend the event for us. And it's the people that we know in our community that are like first up, who are like, they have an advantage over everyone else because it's somebody that we actually know and probably like, and we'll take a look at your writing samples and decide if you're a good fit for IGN. Another note I wanted to make is that when you're pitching press on your game, trying to get press coverage, you need to know your audience and get to know like the types of games that the outlet and the individuals like to play. Because like me, for instance, I really like roguelike games. So if you tell me you're making a roguelike, I'm immediately gonna be, ooh, tell me more. But conversely, I'm not a Dark Souls fan. So if you're making a Souls-like, that's gonna be like, maybe not for me. Someone else though. I know those games are very popular. They just don't really resonate with me. So you got to know your audience and get to know the types of games that the reporters and critics like to play. We really need people with a broad knowledge of games. If you just play shooters, like if you only play Destiny or Fortnite, like then there's not a lot that you can, like there's only like one thing you can offer to IGN, right? So we need people that can review a shooter and also review Tomb Raider and also be able to review, Spider-Man or God of War and Into the Breach, these types of things. I would. It might be worth pointing out that if you can fill a blind spot for us, that's actually would be a big advantage. So if you are a well-rounded gamer that plays all those games and you also play sports games, that's like our dream. It's really difficult to find. It's like Madden and FIFA are some of the biggest games in the world, but it's actually really hard to find gamers that play those games. It's a very like casual type of player that plays those games, and that's all they play, right? So, looking for really well-rounded gamers. Knowledge going back at least a couple generations. Like we're not really expecting people that we're hiring today to know a lot about the Atari 2600 or the TurboGrafx 16. Rest in peace. Well, I mean, obviously it's all about Battle Royale right now, right? It's all about Fortnite, and then Call of Duty has Blackout coming this I guess it's next month, and everybody's really excited about Blackout. So that's like the biggest trend right now. The nice thing about the gaming landscape today is I think like pretty much every genre that has ever existed and has ever been popular is existing today in some form and seems to be able to survive because, like I said, there's so many games out there now. Like I'm really, really happy that Metroidvanias are back, and there's a thing. There seems to be a number of really high-quality Metroidvanias released every year, and some of them have pixel art, and some of them have cool like hand-drawn art styles. So, and then I also really like turn-based strategy games, and we're still seeing those coming out with like Into the Breach, and they're remaking the original Disgaea that's out next month. I love that series. It's really good. I used to think like genres would sort of come and go, but I think it just seems like today I think that's kind of the same way in all media though, because I've noticed it's the same way in music too. Like there's all the types of music that I listened to growing up are still around today. Like death metal is still a thing. Like it never went away, because there's just so many people making content now that there's like room for it, and there's no more barriers to distribution for video games or for music. So anyone who wants to make any type of thing can do it today. And then there's probably, they're able to get that via the internet to its audience, wherever the audience is in the world. So